My friend, let me speak to you as if we were sitting face to face. I want you to imagine something very simple. Imagine you set a goal. You dream of a better life. You feel excitement in your heart. And then, just when the road becomes difficult, you stop. How many times has this happened to you? Now pause and think, what if you had continued just a little longer? What if the success you abandoned was waiting one step ahead? I tell you with certainty, the single greatest difference between those who succeed and those who fail is not luck, not talent, not education. It is persistence. Persistence is the quiet power that never stops, even when the world screams impossible. But let me ask you, how much are you willing to fight for your dream? Look at the lives of those we admire. Henry Ford was called ruthless, even cruel. People mocked his stubbornness. But what they could not see was his secret weapon, persistence. He refused to quit, no matter how many failures stood in his way. And that persistence turned a poor mechanic into a man who changed the world. Here's the question: will you allow your critics to stop you? Or will you persist until your critics become your witnesses? Most people, I must tell you, give up far too quickly. They get excited for a week, maybe a month, and then the fire dies out. They begin to make excuses. They tell themselves it wasn't meant to be. But let me assure you, success never bows to excuses. It bows only to persistence. So I ask again, are you one of the many who quit, or one of the few who never stop? Persistence is like steel in your character. Without it, you bend under pressure. With it, you become unbreakable. Without it, you are fragile. With it, you are unstoppable. Think for a moment about your own life. How many dreams did you let slip away because you stopped too soon? How many times were you just a few steps away from victory? Here's the painful truth. Most men stop digging 3 feet from gold. They walk away, tired, frustrated, defeated, while another person comes along, takes one more swing, and finds treasure. So let me ask you, are you walking away 3 feet from your own gold? Desire is the starting point of all achievement, yes. But desire without persistence is like a fire. Without fuel, it flickers. It fades, it dies. And sadly, that is the story of most people's lives. They wish for success, but they do not persist for success. Tell me, are you wishing or are you persisting? Because persistence transforms wishful thinking into reality. It takes dreams out of your head and makes them stand tall in the world. Without persistence, nothing is built. With persistence, everything becomes possible. Now I want you to feel this truth in your heart. Every failure, every rejection, every obstacle you face is not there to defeat you. It is there to ask you one question. Do you really want it? What will your answer be? You see, the majority surrender when life whispers, stop. But the champions, the builders of empires, the creators of wealth, they keep moving forward. And eventually, life itself surrenders to them. So tell me, will you surrender to life? Or will you make life surrender to you? Persistence is not glamorous. It is not exciting. It is not dramatic. But it is everything. It is the small daily decision to rise again, to try again, to fight again. And those small decisions, repeated day after day, build empires. Do you understand what I'm saying? Every day you persist, you carve a piece of your future. Every time you refuse to give up, you rise above the 98 who quit. You place yourself among the 2 who succeed. Which side do you belong to, the 98 or the 2? The truth is, poverty is attracted to the weak mind, just as strongly as riches are attracted to the persistent mind. If you do not deliberately choose persistence, poverty will choose you. So here is the challenge. Are you building money, consciousness through persistence? Or are you feeding poverty consciousness through surrender? Your subconscious mind is always awake, always listening. If you feed it weak desires and half-hearted efforts, it will give you weak results. But if you feed it persistence, if you feed it fire, it will shape the world to your will. So I ask again, what are you feeding your mind right now? Persistence does not mean trying once or twice. It does not mean waiting for the perfect moment. It means showing up every day with unshakable determination until your dream is real. Do you see now why persistence is the true test of desire? Without persistence, you are defeated before you even start. With persistence, you are guaranteed to win. So I look you in the eye, and I ask, will you quit when it hurts? Or will you persist until the world bows down? Because remember, this history never remembers the quitters. History remembers only those who persisted. And I leave you with this final question. Are you ready to persist until your dream becomes your reality? I must tell you, persistence is not tested in moments of comfort, but in the storms that shake your very soul. Anyone can smile when the sun is shining, but can you still march forward when thunder roars above your head? That is where persistence separates the dreamers from the doers. And if you walk away now, you may never know how close you truly were to the treasure. Buried beneath your struggle, pause for a moment and think. How many times have you given up? Just one step away from success? How many doors have you left unopened because your hand grew tired before turning the knob? This, my friend, is where life plays its greatest trick. It gives you the appearance of defeat, when in truth, victory is only inches away. Henry Ford was told he could not succeed. He was mocked, ridiculed, even laughed at for his obsession with building a car for the common man. But did he quit? No, he persisted through every failure, through every sneer, until his vision transformed into reality. That is the mark of persistence. That is the fire that makes a man unstoppable. Now I must warn you, most people will not persist. They will bow to criticism. They will surrender at the first taste of rejection. They will settle for less because persistence feels too heavy. But if you refuse to quit, if you choose persistence as your weapon, you become a rare breed, one who commands respect, fortune, and destiny itself. Think carefully, how strong is your desire? Weak desire breeds weak persistence. Strong desire breeds an iron will. If your dream is not big enough to keep you awake at night, and it is not yet powerful enough to carry you through the storms, ask yourself, what would you be willing to sacrifice for your dream? What pain could you endure to see it come alive? Because that answer will determine how far your persistence can carry you. You may believe persistence is a gift some men are born with. That is false. Persistence can be built, forged, and strengthened like muscle in the body. How? By desire, by willpower, and by surrounding yourself with the right influences. Your environment shapes your persistence. If you are surrounded by doubters, you will doubt. If you are surrounded by believers, you will believe. That is why I insist on the mastermind. Group it fuels persistence with the power of many. Consider Thomas Edison, who failed thousands of times before perfecting the light bulb. Imagine the temptation to quit after failure number 100, or 500, or even 1,000. But Edison persisted, and that persistence turned darkness into light for the entire world. Do you see? Greatness is not born in comfort. Greatness is born in relentless persistence. Now, I ask you directly, are you willing to persist when the world tells you no? Will you persist when your bank account is empty? When your friends abandon you? When your heart whispers doubts? Because only then will you discover the true weight of persistence. Only then will you realize why it is called the backbone of success. Let me remind you of a truth most men ignore. Poverty too has persistence. It clings to those who think small, who quit early, who settle for excuses. Poverty feeds on weakness of will, but money, fortune, and opportunity, these are attracted to persistence. The moment you decide never to quit, you begin to change the entire vibration of your mind. You begin to radiate an energy that draws fortune closer, just as water flows to the ocean. Picture this. Two men start a business. Both face failure in the first year. The first man surrenders, convinced it was impossible. The second man says, "I will rise again. I will learn, adapt, and try once more." Who do you think the universe rewards? Not the one who quits, but the one who persists. Because life itself bows to the man who refuses to surrender. Do not fool yourself into thinking this journey will be smooth. Persistence demands sacrifice. It demands nights without sleep, mornings filled with uncertainty, and days where doubt screams louder than hope. But remember this, every cry of doubt is a test. If you push through, your victory multiplies in value. The greater the resistance, the greater the prize. You may wonder, how can I strengthen my persistence right now? Begin by setting a clear and definite goal. Write it down. Read it daily. Burn it into your mind until it consumes you. Next, surround yourself with people who refuse to quit, for persistence is contagious. And above all, remind yourself daily of the price of quitting. Because quitting guarantees failure, but persistence always leaves the door open to success. Let us not sugarcoat this truth. Without persistence, your desires are meaningless. Without persistence, your plans are fragile. Without persistence, your fortune will remain only a dream. But with persistence unyielding, fiery, unstoppable persistence, you become a force that nothing can defeat. So I leave you with this thought. Are you prepared to persist until the gates of fortune swing open? Or will you, like the majority, lay down your arms at the first battle? Your destiny waits on your decision. Choose persistence, and the world itself will bend to your will. Have you ever noticed how the world steps? Aside for the man who knows exactly where he is going. That is not coincidence. That is persistence in action. It is the invisible force that bends circumstances, draws opportunities, and compels people to cooperate in ways that even they do not understand. Without persistence, every desire shrivels. With persistence, even the smallest desire can grow into a towering reality. Ask yourself now, how many times have you surrendered at the first sign of resistance? How many dreams have you buried? Not because they were impossible, but because you lacked the grit to continue? Stop for a moment, because the truth stings every time you gave up. Persistence was missing, and that absence was the very reason you never saw your dream come alive. Do you know why Henry Ford was seen as cold-blooded? It was because he refused to bend to the opinions of others. He kept walking the road of his vision when the rest mocked him. The same was true of Rockefeller, Carnegie, Edison, names that history still celebrates. Were they ruthless? Or were they simply unshakable? The difference between their triumphs and the failures of millions is one word: persistence. Let me warn you now, without persistence, you are already defeated. You may carry a desire, you may sketch a plan, you may even dream vividly, but unless persistence ties every action together, your castle will crumble before it even stands. And yet, here is the miracle. Persistence is not a gift from birth. It is not reserved for the chosen few. It is a habit that can be built, a habit that you can start crafting today. Think of steel. It is strong, enduring, and unbreakable. But do you know what gives steel its strength? Carbon. Persistence plays the same role in your character. It is the carbon that transforms soft intention into unbreakable will. Remove it, and the strongest plan becomes fragile. Add it, and even the weakest start becomes unstoppable. Pause right now and look inward. Do you feel your desires flickering like a weak flame? Or do they roar like a furnace? Weak desire breeds weak persistence. That is the law. If you feel yourself faltering, do not curse your weakness, ignite your desire. Fan it with vision. Feed it with purpose. Remind yourself again and again of what is at stake, until your desire burns so fiercely that persistence becomes automatic. Let me give you a truth the world rarely teaches. Persistence is not about willpower alone. It is about environment. Surround yourself with those who believe in you. Gather a mastermind group. Align with people who refuse to let you quit. Because persistence multiplies in the presence of faith and encouragement. Isolation weakens persistence. Connection strengthens it. That is why no great man ever climbed to the top without allies. Now, imagine your subconscious mind as a loyal servant that never sleeps. Day and night, it works on the seeds you plant. If you water it with persistence, if you feed it with the vision of your goal, it will never rest until it produces results in your outer world. But if you treat it with laziness, if you show it inconsistency, it will assume you are not serious, and it will hand you back the scraps of a wasted life. Do not let that happen. Persist until persistence itself becomes your identity. Stop and think, what is poverty? It is not just the absence of money. Poverty is a state of mind. Poverty is the consciousness of defeat. And just as persistence builds wealth consciousness, laziness builds poverty consciousness. If you do not deliberately plant persistence in your mind, poverty will grow there like weeds in a garden left unattended. The laws are merciless, nature rewards the persistent and punishes the indifferent. Which side will you choose? You must treat persistence as the guardian of your dreams. Without it, your desires will be attacked by doubt, by fear, by delay, by the opinions of friends, by the criticism of enemies, and by the blows of circumstance. With persistence, you become immune. You walk forward when others retreat. You advance when others collapse. You rise when others bow down. Persistence is not glamorous. It does not dazzle, but it wins. And winning is all that matters. Listen carefully, persistence is the test life gives every man before allowing him into the halls of success. Life whispers, "How much do you want it?" If you surrender, life denies you. If you endure, life opens its treasures. That is why I say persistence is more powerful than genius, more valuable than education, and more vital than talent. It is the one quality that can turn an ordinary man into an extraordinary achiever. Do not think you are defeated because your progress is slow. Even water, dripping steadily on stone, carves valleys. Even the smallest step, repeated daily with persistence, creates miracles. The man who persists will eventually stand in the palace, while the man who quits will remain in the dust. Choose now where you wish to stand. I urge you, do not wait for tomorrow. Do not expect the perfect time. Do not hope for favorable winds. Persist today in the storm. Persist today in the darkness. Persist today when your strength feels gone. Because persistence is forged not in comfort, but in resistance. Each time you rise after a fall, you harden your spirit. Each time you refuse to quit, you sharpen your will. And when persistence becomes your habit, victory becomes your destiny. Now, let me leave you with this: fortune does not belong to the clever, nor to the lucky. Fortune belongs to the persistent. When desire is steady and willpower unshakable, nothing in this universe can resist you. But when you surrender to weakness, even the smallest obstacle can destroy you. So I ask you now, with all the urgency of truth, will you persist until you win? Or will you quit and watch your dream die? The choice is yours.